What's up, everybody? I'm going to change the format of these videos, I think. So first, I'm just going to update you all on all the things that have been accomplished thus far. We're still in the disassembly phase. And I wanted to just kind of summarize what I've done so far. Obviously, on the front end side, we've got the bumper off, we've got the grill off. It didn't come with a radiator, so that'll be something I have to tackle later. There is a fan that it came with. And of course, took the tires off. And then this fender, I think the previous videos show that fender had been taken off. I got that off pretty early in the game. I broke off lots and lots of bolts doing it. So there's a bolt broken off, and there's these screws along here. So there's a good one, broken one, broken one, good one, oops, good one, broken one. So lots and lots of broken bolts here, but that fender got taken off. Got the cowl off here. Wiper assembly's out, so all that's done there. Got the windshield out. Discovered, lots more rust damage, which I anticipated. Quite a bit along here, along the roof seam, so I need to cut back a little into the roof here. Maybe we'll see when we get everything disassembled. Then we'll start the body work phase. The driver's side door obviously off. Still need to take the hinges off here. Locking mechanism plate that needs to come off. Interior wise, got quite a bit accomplished in here. Steering wheel's out and dash is out, along with the heater core and the blower fan. The heater core and fan, of course, go up just behind where the light is there, and you can get those out without taking the dash out. I would not want to have to do that, however. Haven't done anything drivetrain related. That's why the gear shift is still there. The emergency brake, that mechanism is underneath the car, up above the drive shaft. So I feel like I'll just deal with that when I get to the drivetrain portion. If you will recall, I kept saying how I couldn't get the hatchback off, and holy mackerel, was it a bear. And here's the reason why. So this is the latching mechanism for the hatchback, and this is the top and bottom piece. So the piece I'm grabbing with my fingers here, that's attached to the hatchback itself, and then this piece down here is the latch that would stick up through this hole. And so this thing is so rusted, you can see right there, whoops, those jaws, they come around and grab into that pin. Well, this whole assembly is so rusted, I'm unable to make this thing budge at all. So I'll need to work on that, maybe soak it in some rust penetrant, something other than just WD-40. You're probably looking at the immense amount of damage back here. Yes, all this is going to have to be replaced. I got the hinges out of the hatchback, another broken bolt, got that one out, another broken bolt, got that one out. As far as rust damage goes, like, I'm not seeing any visible stuff here, so might be in pretty good shape. There's a little bit of bubbling under the paint there, so absolutely when I get the car stripped down to bare metal, I'm sure it's going to reveal all kind of stuff. Got the rear decorative panel, I guess that's off, license plate panel. Still need to get these out, and they're going to be a special challenge, because each one of those screws, there's one of them right there, focus, they're completely rusted. So I anticipate having to drill those out. Yeah, we'll come over here. Yeah, see, there's an example of one right there. Just super rusted. Yeah, there's no way I'm going to get those out with a screwdriver. So we'll see. But yeah, that need to get the taillight assemblies out. Need to still pull out the wiring harnesses. They're still all in place. That's where the fuel reservoir or expansion tank is or was. That's a California thing, so I won't be putting that back in the car. So that's gone. It was just a plastic reservoir that kind of filled that whole space up. Lots of damage in here, right? You can see through to the floor. Because you see, there's the jack stands right there. So lots to be replaced here. The wheel well completely rusted out. A little bit of, you know, just dented, actual dents there. And there was a real live dent over here too. Yeah. Really, as far as like denting goes though, not a lot of that. So that's good. And in the teardown, it's pretty clear that this has not been an accident. I haven't found anything subframe related that's broken or dented or disformed. So as you recall, the passenger side door was another big obstacle for me. Well, that got accomplished too in the last week. So this thing was also a bear. And the door itself, I mean, there's the latching mechanism, which I took off. The door itself, I think I put it over here. Yeah, so this one here without the window, I took everything off of this. Well, most everything. I still needed to disassemble a couple parts and pieces, but I took the window out, took the window, the mechanism out. But this latching mechanism was very, very rusted. And it was, I wish I would have taken a video showing the details of what I had to do to get this thing open. But suffice to say, it took a long time. It was very frustrating, but I had to put a thin, long piece of metal down through the inside of the door to come into where the latching assembly is. And I had to kind of figure out how that latching assembly was going to work. What parts, if you pushed on it, would this one go up? Or if you pushed here, would this go up? Or how does this spring interplay? All that kind of stuff. I finally found what I felt like was the right place to put leverage on. And took that metal pole, that thin metal pole, and then banged at it with the hammer up here. And was able to slowly tick, 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 pop that thing loose from the locking mechanism, and then the door came off. That was a huge, huge moment for me. These side windows are both out. Getting a lot of the trim work out. You know, the carpet and so forth is out. Still need to take out the this stuff here. This is the sound deadening. So that'll be a chore. Floorboard gone. Firewall also severely damaged. Took these, oops, can't see anything, just put your hand in the way here. Yeah, so lots of damage there. Here's where all of the there's three main wiring harnesses, and they all connect in here. So this is just a cluster of stuff. I am actually quite nervous about the electrical portion of this project, because I'm not an electrician by any stretch, and I'm not even sure how they managed to get wires up. You see they go back behind, the body, and I mean, pulling them out, obviously you just pull until they come out, but how does one put them back in? That's the question that I have. Sure, I'll figure it out when I get there. Be a while though before we get to that stage. Getting the door off allowed me to get the blasted fender off. And once again, broken bolt. And then several broken screws along here to take that fender off. But that's where we're at. So that's the summary of what we've gotten done so far. So what we're going to tackle next is I'm going to go ahead and extract these tail light assemblies from the car, and I'll be right back. Okay, well, once again, just to detail how this project goes. So here's one of the screws. I was able to get it to turn. Can't see that, there's too much sunlight. So I can get it to turn, but on the other side right here, this just turns as well and won't come out. So even though that screw turns, still gonna have to drill it out. Once again, a job that should have taken about 5 minutes. It's been about a half hour. Drilled out each one of these screws. Somebody's gotten creative in the past. This one here was a screw that obviously was not original, was much larger. And you can see here that this screw was missing, and so their solution to that was some silicone. But yeah, the rear assembly is out. And unfortunately, there was still a bulb in there, and it's broken. Some of these bulbs actually look like this one here, for example. That looks like that bulb would still work, which, you know, is fascinating to me. I mean, these may not be original. I don't know. It's a IO 12 volt, 12 volt. I don't know what that is. Anyway, so got one of them out, and now for this one. And the other one's out. Only took me 5 or 6 minutes on this one to drill out. There were several already gone. This one I didn't realize was still in place. It was broken off on the inside, so I didn't see that there was a screw still in there, and so I ended up pulling that out. I also discovered how this mechanism works. I'm afraid if there was any chance of restoring these tail light assemblies, I might have lost it. So the screw itself, the screw head, which is on the inside of the car, is what the vice grip is holding. The screw is into a cap nut. It took me a little bit to figure out what that was. It's a cap nut, and that cap nut, it's hexagonal, of course. That cap nut fits down inside the taillight assembly and acts as the receiver for the screw. The taillight assembly itself, as you can see, is also, well, you can't see it very good, but it is hexagonal in nature. So when the cap screw, or when the cap nut is pushed in there, the cap nut is seated, and so then all you have to do is place the screw on the inside of the car, it goes into the cap nut, and that's how you secure this. Well, I ended up having to yank all these out because the cap nut is frozen to the screw itself, and so by wrestling these out, twisting, turning, pulling, and so forth, I'm afraid I have ruined the hexagonal pattern that's inside of these. So may have made it impossible to keep the taillight assemblies, but little things like that are going to come up. But it is out. I've got both taillights out now, and we'll figure out what we're going to do next. All right, next up we're going to tackle the bumper, the rear bumper, and that is accomplished by, I just took you guys on a wild ride there, didn't I? That is accomplished by removing those nuts right there. There are 2 of them. And then there's another attachment point over there. So 4 nuts total. Maybe around a 14, we'll find out. I was thinking that this was another nut that needed to come off, but the service manual does not indicate that this is an attachment point for the bumper. So I'm not sure what the purpose behind that is. I'm looking up there now, and yeah, that, how do I show you and light it at the same time? Yeah, so that's, there's no attachment there. So maybe it's just a brace of some kind. So we're gonna tackle these four nuts here and get this bumper off. The bumper is off. I would say it's been a solid hour. Yeah, there were 2 more bolts. I mean, those are the 2 that I pointed out. And then these on the side that I thought were not, actually are. But I don't know if you can really see this or not. This thing is all bent out of shape, and that's because the bolt was rusted in there so much that as I got a grip on the bolt and was able to turn it, I ended up just twisting this whole assembly. This one I was able to actually get the bolt out of. This one over here, I did not get the bolt out of. And you can see how bent that is. And instead of the bolt coming out, it just clean ripped right out of the hole on the side of the car. And those were bears. I had to resort to a breaker bar on this side. The passenger side did not have enough room for a breaker bar because of the fuel tank. So there's the hole. So the fuel tank was in the way of this hose and everything, so I was able to get my 14 millimeter ratchet wrench in there, but of course it wasn't near long enough to put any kind of leverage on it, so I ended up connecting it to my 17 to give myself some leverage, and it finally broke loose. It wanted to come through. You can see that it started. It wanted to come through that like the other one, but we actually got it out. So bumper off. Whew. All right, so in keeping with the theme of the rear of the car, we're going to take the I don't remember what that's called, but the hatchback lands on that, rests on that. This is, I'm not exactly sure what role that plays, but that's got to come out as well. There's one on each side. Both of these, they were pretty stuck the last time I gave them a try, but we're going to try to get them off right now. Took off a little bit more weather stripping, and we're going to get this fuel door off of here too. A couple of screws. Oops, a couple of screws in there. That's next. Well, those are a little tougher than I thought they would be. Had to drill them all out, every single one of them, but those are out now. This is just one piece here. This can be disassembled and restored. We'll probably do that. And then these are pretty simple, just some rubber, just a rubber stopper with a metal backing plate. So the backing plate goes between the stopper and the car. But yeah, just these little tiny Phillips head screws that I had to drill out and then use a screw extractor. So a little bit of work, but we got them, and yeah, had to drill everything out. Next up, let's get this off. Gas tank lid is off with intact screws, if you can believe it. Woohoo! Small victories. All right, fuel cap is off, and then I also took off the fuel filler cap. That was rough. I ended up having to chisel one of the screws out of there. My goodness, what a mess. So then every once in a while I have to stop and inventory the parts and pieces before I forget which screws go with which component. Put them in a little box that's labeled. And this is all the tools that I needed to use to get these few parts off. I mean, every time I come out to work on the car, it's like this. So drill, hammer, assorted wrenches, vice grips, pliers, screw extraction sets, screwdrivers, sockets, some penetrating oil, a flashlight. Yeah, it's just insane. Oh, and a breaker bar. So I'm going to inventory some parts now, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, parts are inventoried. Several hours have passed. It's now you have to be almost 2:15 a.m. Prime working time for me. We're going to go ahead and get the rest of this trim out. So I'm going to take out the goodness gracious, the sun visors, the rear view mirror, this roof trim, tackle what I need to on this side. I think I'm pretty much done on this side, actually. Yeah. No, there's still a couple little components there, and then over there I've got all that to deal with. So I think we're going to tackle these things. Trying to think of anything else relevant here. No, I think that's about it. I've got really a lot of this back done now. Despite me spraying this with some penetrating oil, yeah, no budging there. Might have to get some heat involved in that one. And yeah, made some good progress so far. I mean, I really took off very few things for as much time as I've spent today. But yeah, let me tackle some of this this interior stuff. All right, been about almost 3 hours. It is 4:45 a.m. We've accomplished some stuff. I did get all of the trim out. The firewall insulation is out. The roof liner is out. The visors on both sides, the rear view mirror, every single screw had to be drilled out. Those were a bear. And removed the box that was over here on this driver's side panel is actually, oh, I've lost it. Actually, it's over here. It is the electronic fuel injection control module, which I won't be needing because we'll be going back to the carburetors for this motor. And yeah, just need to get a little trim off of there. Do that another time. But for today, I think that's going to wrap it up. Made some decent progress. It's so slow going, but it's fun in its own way. Thanks for watching.